Welcome into the 69th episode of Cleveland Sports Realm. Go ahead and get your jokes in now.
Nice.
It's the 69th episode, and we're going to do this one in honor of a player who most people who listen to this podcast probably have no idea who the hell he is, but Kevin and I do. That's Scott Paxton. Former Browns defensive lineman on the 2011 Browns, and go ahead and look him up. He's a real player. We didn't just make him up out of thin air.
Yeah, and actually, now that you say that, I felt like he was like okay when he got some playing time. Like he was never anybody that was ever going to be a mainstay on any team, but he was a decent rotational guy.
He was fine.
Yeah, it's exactly how I would describe it.
He was absolutely fine. So, all right, we are here for the 69th episode, and if you're watching on YouTube, I am going to put this out there, a little bit of housekeeping. I didn't get punched in the face. I did cut my lips shaving because I'm an idiot. But we'll carry on now with the real stuff and the sports news. Oh, and one more thing. Not some of you may care about this in our listening audience. I'm pretty excited because it's Wednesday, February 24th. And it's something I've been waiting for a long time. It's the 50th season of Survivor.
Yeah.
My favorite TV show of all time. And I couldn't be more excited to watch that program tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get, probably when we get done recording, we'll go home and we'll see who is able to outwit, outplay, and outlast.
Well, not all in one night. At least
well, correct. But we're going to see.
Correct.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
All right. So enough about everything else going on in the world. Let's talk about something that I thought truly unified America for the first time in a while. Listen, we're not going to get political on this program, but America, in the United States of America, that is in a very divisive time right now. And we haven't seen a lot of patriotism or patriotic pride, but something happened on Sunday morning that I thought unified this country unlike we've seen in a long, long time. And it was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. For those of you that have been listening since we started this podcast, you know that Jerome and I are roommates. So we each had our alarms set for Sunday morning to make sure that we were up in time and ready to watch the gold medal game between the Americans and the Canadians.
Yes.
And boy, did it live up to the hype.
Absolutely. So let's get into that a little bit. First of all, if you have followed Olympic hockey or, national hockey teams, for example, we had the Four Nations last year, that the United States consistently has a good team, and they have a kryptonite, and that kryptonite is
Team Canada.
Those guys in the red jerseys with the
white jerseys with the red maple leaf.
Yep. And they never have been able to get over it for a long, long time, but they did on Sunday. Jack Hughes scores the overtime game winner, and so many times the United States has lost to Canada in overtime, and it was really cool that they were able to avenge that and defeat the Canadians in overtime. And I know what a lot of the Canadians are saying. They're disrespecting the win. They think if they would have had Sidney Crosby, it would have been different. That very well may be the case, but I know here in the United States of America, we'll always remember this as the first gold medal since 1980 in the Miracle on Ice and the Herb Brooks team. And it's been a long, long time, and it was pretty effing cool to witness.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely unbelievable to witness. And of course, now that we start recording, I'm going to blank on his name for some reason.
Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
The goalie?
Yeah, the goalie.
I got it on our screen over.
Okay.
I got it on the monitor for you.
Okay. Yeah, no, it was honestly, I haven't seen a performance like that since was it Elvis Merzlinski who was for the
Jonas Corposalo when he had 95 saves against the
for the Blue Jackets.
Yes. For the Jackets against the Maple Leafs, and I believe that was the COVID playoffs.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I want to even say that might have been. I think that might have even been before. I want to say that was like 2019, right?
No, it was 2020.
Was it 2020?
And the reason I remember is because the COVID playoffs were real weird, and it was an afternoon matinee game, and like it started at 4:00 or something, because as we know, the NHL and the NBA were under goofy playoff circumstances that year.
Weird.
But yeah, and you're right, Kevin. And I even put this here on the monitor. I put it on there, and I think you're going to agree with it. That was one of the greatest performances by a goalie of all time. I mean, and
yeah,
some of those saves were just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the one where he got the stick on it, where it barely hit the puck, but it it changed its direction enough. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, and like we've said on the podcast before, like obviously we don't talk hockey too much unless really the playoffs are on, or if there's really a really good game that happened to go on the previous night or within that week. So I mean, just going off of limited hockey viewership based off of myself personally watching hockey, it was absolutely one of the best goalie performances of all time. I just brought up one singular performance that I thought was better. But yeah, it was unbelievable. And with the stakes that were on the line too, it was exactly when you needed a performance like that. And for Canada having control of the puck for as long as they did, I'm not sure exactly what the exact time of possession was compared for the Canadians versus the Americans, but you and I talked during the game, like it seemed like Canada had the puck on our side of the ice for what seemed like 3/4 of the game.
Well, especially in the third period, and I thought it was brought to light when Eddie Olchak, one of the greatest hockey analysts I think on television of all time, had said there was 12 minutes left in the game, and he said, I hate to say it, but the best course of action for the United States right now is to push us into overtime. They were just on their heels that much.
Yeah.
And, they were in their own zone, and they barely got any time in the Canadian zone. And I even said it to you during the game, the Canadian goalie, Jordan Binnington, I said, if you can get some shots on goal with him, he's going to be shaky due to the fact he hasn't had to face that much. Right away, the United States breaks out early and gets an outstanding goal. And then basically after that, they did not really have much time in the Canadian zone. And you and I, had said it during the game, and we'll say it again. If it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck, it's probably a 6-1 Canadian victory.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, he was incredible. And what happened, and I think, I get it. No Crosby. He's probably the second best player on the team still, even at his age, behind McDavid. And, the only time that I thought, boy, maybe the United States has a chance, when McDavid gets a breakaway and never really gets a clean shot on Hellebuck, and you're like, maybe today's just the day for United States.
Yeah, well, it seemed like when he was going in, it seemed like he knew that he was on the breakaway there, and then he just looked up what seemed like too late. Maybe it was that extra 3 feet on the ice, honestly, lengthwise, or I should say 3 less feet on the rink lengthwise, right? Because they changed that for the Olympics. So maybe he was just used to the length of the previous rink, and then looked up and all of a sudden, Hellebuck's right in his face, and he doesn't really have time to get a shot off. He just kind of skates right into him.
Well, yeah, and I think that one's going to weigh on McDavid's mind for a long time. I mean, he's the best player in the world. I don't think it's, I don't think it's too much of a question. I mean, everybody, even if you're a moderate hockey fan or a casual hockey fan, you know who Connor McDavid is, and he's the best player in the league. And so, basically my takeaway for this is, yes, the Canadians had the better roster and the better team, but the United States are no slouches. I mean, again, they've been to how many of these games do or die against Canada, but the United States has the best goalie in the world, ironically, who plays for a Canadian team and has played his whole career for the Winnipeg Jets. But needless to say, when it comes to the national team, he's ours because he is a Michigan native. So awesome game, and good congratulations to the United States. And again, we're not going to get too political, but Connor Hellebuck was presented with the Medal of Freedom last night, which I thought was pretty cool because, again, if it wasn't for him, that gold medal, all those guys aren't wearing gold medals. And then for Jack Hughes too, I mean, he loses his tooth.
I was about to say, taking that high stick right to the mouth. What's probably 20 minutes earlier?
Yeah.
Like it was not long after that he scored the game winning goal.
And we talk we talk tongue in cheek and make fun of the NBA players a lot, but let's just put it out there. The NHL players are some tough son of a bitches.
They're built different. They're built different.
I mean, and we had joked about this, this is now Wednesday. This game happened Sunday. We joked about this, but there is some underlying truth, tones of truth to it. And that is, if the NBA, granted, hypothetically, if the basketball was a Winter Olympic sport and the NBA had to play in season, a lot of these guys bitch about playing for the Olympic team when it's in their off season.
Yeah.
If they had to play in season, they'd demand a month off. These NHL guys won the gold medal on Sunday. They're prancing around the country. They're partying in Miami on Monday. They're at the State of the Union last night. And some of them are back in game action tonight as we record this right now. These guys are unbelievable. They are some tough son of a bitches. And compared to baseball and football and basketball, they don't make as much money. And boy, they are just built different. You're 100%
Yeah,
right.
and I think, honestly, like the talent level to be able to do what hockey players do, I think is absolutely insane. Like, I think for the sports that you and I typically cover, football, basketball, baseball, I think the best athletes probably play basketball just with what you have to do, whether it's dunking, shooting, defending, just the pure athleticism alone. But when you transfer that to, a hockey rink and you have to do a lot of that on skates and the hand-eye coordination with the stick and the puck, and especially for a goalie like Connor Helleb, I don't know how he saw the puck for 2/3 of his saves.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable feat of what these hockey players are doing, and unfortunately it doesn't go as nationally recognized, specifically obviously in the United States, just with those three being the primary sports, the ones that you and I cover. But hockey is an unbelievable sport. It's kind of a shame. I wish Cleveland did have a pro hockey team, I should say, just so that I did follow it a little bit more. But doesn't make it any less enjoyable whenever I turn hockey on.
Yeah, and even if you were, like you said, more of a casual fan, you can look at that game and you can recognize that was the skill level in that game was off the charts.
Yep.
I mean, just incredible. So maybe, if you want to, Kevin, we could start covering some monsters here on this podcast.
we could dabble depending on if their season warrants it.
If you'd like, we could start covering the Blue Jackets AHL affiliate, that is the Cleveland Monsters. And we're both BW alums, and I know that they're what do you call that? PA announcer is actually a BW alum too, Jason Sokol. So
that's a good, nice fun fact.
Yeah, a little fun fact for you.
Sure.
All right, let's wrap the Olympics up as a whole. Norway wins the 2026 Winter Olympics with 41 medals.
Wow.
United States comes in second with 33 and 12 gold.
Yeah.
Which is no small feat, especially. We know the United States typically does very well in the Summer Olympics, but this was their best Winter Olympics. I don't remember exactly. I don't have it in front of me, but it's been a long, long time, so good for them. And then Italy, I was very impressed with Italy. They've, as the host country, finished in third with 30 medals total. And, I don't remember, maybe I'm just, being recency bias here, but I don't remember Italy being as much of a factor in the Winter Olympics. They really... they were proud to host, and they did a great job by all accounts. Obviously, I wasn't in Milan or Cortina, so I can't say firsthand, but all the folks who seem to come back stateside say it was phenomenal, and good for them. They really were proud to host, and they boosted their teams, and they were ready to go, and they ended up finishing in third place in the 2026 games. So.
Yeah, good overall showing by the Italians, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they could sing That's Amore for the next until the Summer Olympics of 2028, which will be here.
Yes,
and
looking forward to it.
I believe and hope that we'll still be doing this podcast, so that's when we'll talk.
We will be.
We'll be planning. We'll talk some 2028 LA Olympics, and then we'll go from there. Baseball is supposed to be back, so we'll see what happens there. Are they going to let the MLB guys play? That's right in the middle of their season. A lot there left to be determined. And that's a good transition because it is time to talk a little baseball here on the Cleveland Sports Realm and the Cleveland Guardians. You want to start with the Reese news, or you want to start with the Quanah center field news?
I would say we go the Reese news. I
All
would say
right.
we would talk about Reese. We've been waiting for it this entire offseason, and here it is.
They finally signed somebody, but I want to let everybody know it still wasn't a major league contract. Can't hand any of those out.
So is it technically a major league hitter then?
I think so. He hasn't been in the minor leagues in a long, long time. No, you know what? I've criticized their offseason ruthlessly, and I think most of it has been warranted. If you go back to last week's podcast, I really unloaded, and I was fired up, and my cheeks were bright rosy red, and I was getting angry.
Yeah,
and they needed another major league hitter, and they got one in Rhys Hoskins. Now, here's the deal with it. just for contract terms, it's a 1-year deal. It's a minor league deal. If he makes the team, it's $1.5 million, which is chump change to any MLB owner. Why did they give him a minor league deal? I think just because, truthfully, to save money. I can't think of any other reason. And they still probably like the option, which I can understand. If he has a horrid spring training, then they can cut bait. But I just can't evaluate the current crop of position players they have and can't, under any circumstances, unless he struck out like every at bat, can't not put Rhys Hoskins on this roster. I think no matter what, when they break Goodyear to head up north to the Pacific Northwest to open in Seattle, I can't envision any scenario in which Rhys Hoskins doesn't A, make the team, and B, is hitting 4th, 5th, or 6th.
Yeah, I was going to say he's going to be right in the middle of this lineup. Don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of people that think, the $1.5 million, this ownership won't. I mean, yes, they will. I mean, they kind of have to. It's the only offseason move they've made, really, position player, yes, of value. And somebody that you can sign and, like we just said, put right into the middle of your lineup. He only played just over 90 games, I want to say, last year. Had, 12 or 13 home runs? So
he had 13 home runs, I believe 49 RBIs. And I'm going to get a little geeky here. His OPS was still over 700, and his WRC plus, for those of you who aren't familiar, an average hitter is equated at 100.
Yep.
And the Guardians only had 2 guys that were over that last year. They were over 100. It was Jose and Manzardo. Quan had dipped right below. I think he finished with a 98 because of his rough ending of the season. Rhys Hoskins was at 108 in his 90 games. Now, to your point, Rhys battled injuries all last year, but he had a phenomenal May and June, and then he got hurt, and then they traded for Andrew Vaughn, and then he lost his spot, and he didn't make the postseason roster. But, go back to all that not that long ago in 2023, I believe it was, when the Philadelphia Phillies made it to the NLCS. 2022, because 2023 he tore his ACL, and then he signed the 2-year deal with the Brewers, and then they had an option for a 3rd year, which they declined. So I just think this was all the perfect storm, because go back to those Phillies days, though. Rhys hit a lot of big home runs for them.
I was just going to say, if you look at Rhys Hoskins historically, if he's going to play over 100 games, he's going to hit 220 plus and bring home between 20 to 30 bombs. I think there's one season that he hit over 30, didn't quite hit 40. But if you're going to get over half the year from him, which I realize he played over half the year last year, but
no, I get what you're saying.
If he plays 100-plus games, you're going to get 20-plus bombs, and he's going to hit 220. Who on this team can you count on to do that in 100 games outside of Jose Ramirez? Nobody. Right. You get Rhys Hoskins, you put him right into the middle of the lineup. Maybe Manzardo catches fire. He seems to go into those streaks of where he gets the average up to 240. He's hitting for power. Then he's hitting the ball hard, but it's going to people, and then the average starts dipping a little bit. So Manzardo's been playing that game. DeLauder's hurt, but hopefully we have, some confidence in him going into the year. And then Bazana. This Hoskins move, I think, for how minor it is, I think you can honestly, you just become so much more confident as a fan that you have one more solidified bat in the lineup, and then it's like, okay, now we'll have him around a Bazana, a DeLauder, a Manzardo. We can space those guys out, so when they're up to bat, they're not just getting crap pitches to swing and miss at. They can see some good things to hit. They can get some confidence going, and hopefully we get the young guys juiced up as a result of this. I'm very excited over this signing.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I can't. Again, I've crucified their offseason. I think most of it was warranted, but this is like a super low risk, high reward signing. Like, $1.5 million to a major league owner is like me giving you a penny right now. It's nothing, right? Like, it doesn't mean anything. So even if, let's say, again, I can't envision a scenario where Rhys doesn't make this roster, but let's say hypothetically, let's actually look at this negatively. And obviously we're hoping this doesn't happen, but let's say by April and May, Rhys Hoskins is just awful. Like, he's hitting like 110. He's striking out relentlessly. Like by Memorial Day,
What did you lose?
you cut him and you lost $1.5 million. Who cares? You DFA him, it's no problem. Then on the plus side, for Rhys Hoskins, the plus side for him is if you have a good year, you're a free agent again next year. You build your market value up, and even though you'll be going into your age 34 season, you'll have a bunch of people lined up to sign you. And what's the benefit for the Guardians? Oh, yeah, they need hitters.
Yeah.
And so
it's a mutually beneficial contract, honestly.
Absolutely. And so, I just can't say enough good things about this. I have a couple. Why did it take so long? For one, to realize, what did it take you the first 2 days you got there? What'd you guys do? You watched Jonathan Rodriguez and watch him hit in the cage twice and realize, oh yeah, he still fucking sucks. Excuse my language.
Wow.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
And you have no right-handed sticks. Like, I just don't understand like why it took you until you got to Goodyear to realize you needed this. Like, newsflash, the fans.
Oh, I think it's because of the amount of money that it
Right.
clearly cost.
That's probably it. Like, and you're probably spot on. They weren't, they probably weren't allowed, and that's just a simple way the matter is. But again, I can't say enough good things about this. I envision Rhys to be healthy, and I envision Rhys to be a big part of this team. And I know there's been a lot of Mike Napoli comparisons. Could he do?
I think it's a very fair comparison too. I would even think Rhys Hoskins is better at this stage than when we signed Napoli. Now, Napoli went on to have a great year for us, like better than anybody ever imagined. Like if Rhys Hoskins has that year, like I'll be pumped. But at their stage in the career, I would take Hoskins now as opposed to Napoli going into that season.
And for the naysayer idiots out there who are like, well, this is not a good signing. He at his best, he's only going to hit 220. Newsflash, that'd still be like the third highest average.
That's a top 5 hitter in our lineup.
That's absolutely average wise. I think last year you're looking at top 3. So so Rhys Hoskins coming here, no matter like, I just don't see a scenario in which it doesn't work out. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for it. And the other thing is with the Tigers obviously having Tarek Skubal in his last year and then signing Framber Valdez, you need some right-handed sticks, and the Guardians are just so overly left-handed. I mean, yeah, we're excited about the young kids. Like, of course, we're excited about DeLauder if he could stay healthy. That's the biggest if on planet Earth. We're excited about, Valera after he showed us a little something in the postseason. Sure, maybe some folks are excited about Kafis, and even some delusional folks like yourself are still excited that Nolan Jones could turn into something. But
I love Nolan Jones.
What's the common thread with all those guys? They swing the stick from the left side of the plate. You got to have some right hand. And that's why I'm excited.
And you haven't seen anything really of true consistency or promise amongst any of those guys.
Right. And some of their sample sizes are just simply not big enough to criticize or evaluate.
Exactly. That's where that consistency piece comes in. Now the fight that the Guardians are going to be playing is how are they going to manage this potential platoon at first base / corner outfield. Now, if it's me, I'm putting Hoskins at first and just setting it there because we saw the fiasco that was Kyle Manzardo at first base last season.
Right.
And then you start platooning Kafis. I think this is perfect for Kafis. I think this is where you see Kafis occasionally going at first, occasionally going at corner outfield. This is how I feel like CJ Kafis should be used and be used appropriately. So I'm happy with how this works in CJ Kafis' favor as well.
See, I think that too, but then I thought about it again, and I'm thinking, I actually think this squeezes Kafis off the roster, and I think this actually means Kafis is probably, unless he blows everybody away this spring, he's probably ticketed to be the Columbus Clippers first baseman, because if you look at their organizational depth chart, they don't really have anybody else to play first for the Clippers. Clippers are going to need a first baseman.
Well, I think the Guardians come first.
Well, no. I understand that.
I think they'd rather promote somebody from Double-A than take somebody away from the Major League organization.
I completely understand what you're saying, but I just think, your DH spot and first base spot are probably flip-flop every day between Manzardo and Kafis, or Manzardo and Hoskins, because I just don't think at that point, unless you want to put Kafis back out in the outfield, and he wasn't a disaster out there by any means last year, so maybe you want to do that and you start Valera in AAA. Like, I think the two guys who are probably in most danger of with the re-signing of losing their spot in the big league club would be Kafis or Valera.
And to be honest with you, I think Valera would be the one that's more in favor of losing the major league roster spot, just because I think if you're bringing Valera up, it's for the excitement piece of like, we're going to be starting this guy. I think Kefis, it's either, yeah, I mean, if you throw him out there and start him, sure, we started him last year, but it's also, I think CJ Kefis knows exactly what his role is going to be in the MLB, and I think it is that backup corner outfielder, backup first baseman. Now, I'm not saying CJ Kefis needs to be an everyday player, and I need to see him in left or right field or first base every single day. Like, that's by no means what I'm saying at all. I just think if he's going to get a day or two a week, which is probably what he's going to be looking at, I trust him as that utility corner outfielder and that backup first baseman.
Yeah, and
more than I do for George Valera.
And that absolutely leads us to our next topic of conversation here. Steven Kwan is going to take reps in center field. Mm-hmm. Now, let's look at this from a bevy of different angles here, right?
A bevy.
So the first angle is, why are you doing this? The guy's 4 for 4 and getting Gold Gloves in left field. What are you going to now in his 5th year decide to move him a position for? The second angle is, you can argue they don't really have a better defensive outfielder, so why not? Why don't you probably want your best defensive outfielder in the most prime position in the outfield?
Yeah.
So those are the two angles from the Guardians' point of view. Then is there the angle of, well, are they getting the marching orders that he needs to be traded by the deadline because he's making $7 million and his arbitration number is going to go up again next year, and they haven't come to a contract extension agreement, which is looking more and more unlikely at this point, to be perfectly honest, as much as we're both upset about that.
Yep.
So they built boosting the trade value. Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at this. I'm going to go ahead and try to look at it from the optimistic point of view of, I understand he's 4 for 4 and getting Gold Gloves in left field, and he may very well be one of the best defensive outfielders in the entire Major League Baseball. But I also don't really think the Guardians have like anybody who's better, so maybe it's from that point of view I can understand them trying to slide him over to center. What say you?
Yeah, no, I think it has more so to do with trusting your best outfielder in that spot. I know you and I actually, to a point when we still had Andres Jimenez, we had talked about this before with when we had drafted Bazana and, maybe you move Jimenez over to short, but he hasn't played that position in 3-4 years. We had conversations around that.
Ironically, by the way, sorry to cut you off. He will now that Bo's gone in Toronto. He'll be the everyday shortstop.
Yeah, which I thought he should have been while he was here. I think when you look at, like, when you're comparing, let's say, baseball to football, for example, back in, it would have been 2018, when they tried testing Joel Bitonio out at left tackle, as opposed to left guard, and
I think they ended up having to do it during the COVID season, not by choice but by necessity.
Well, during the COVID season, Jedrick Wills played like every left tackle game.
What was the one when Jed got? What was when Jed started to stink? 2021
would have been 23 or
whatever
4.
year he started to stink. They kicked Bitonio out to tackle for a couple games out of necessity because Jed was hurt.
So I want to make this comparison because left tackle to left guard is, for as similar as they are very, very different. The guard's pulling, the tackles, steps back, pass blocks, whatever it might be. In baseball, I think it's way simpler to swap positions like this. Like, I think when you're in the outfield, whether it's left field or center, and sure, you want like your faster guy with maybe a better arm in center field than a Steven Kwan. But at the end of the day, he's seeing the fly ball, he's chasing after it, he's calling it or calling for another outfielder, whether it's in left or right field, to go after the ball, and then you throw to your cutoff man or you don't. Like, that's basically what playing the outfield is, and I don't think transitioning from left field to center field is going to be that difficult for him. When it comes to like Andres Jimenez rotating positions, these guys have been playing, like Jimenez has been playing middle infield probably since he was like 5 years old. Kwan's probably been playing outfield. It probably was not left field his entire career up from the age of 6 and up, so I'm sure he's played center field, right field. Obviously he's played left field for the last
4 years.
Last 4 or 5 years now, specifically for, the Indians Guardians organization. I trust Steven Kwan fully if he's making that transition. And quite frankly, if I were the Indians, I think I would be making the same exact decision.
Well, and so the other thing with that is, I'm glad that they're at least like not just doing this in the middle of the season, right? Because he's going to want some reps, and I understand
Sure.
every park plays differently, but if it's easier for him to, let's just say this point blank, nobody's going to care if he screws something up in Goodyear this spring, but if he's in center field in Seattle and hypothetically, let's just say Julio Rodriguez has a deep fly ball and he tracks it very poorly and it drops in there, people are going to be pissed. So yeah, if you plan on doing this for the season, then let him play as much center field as possible, because he even said it himself. He said, hey, I haven't played center field since I was at Oregon State. The whole way up through the minor league system with the Guardians, he was a corner outfielder.
Yep.
And what people, and Quan actually reminded a lot of the media, is people forget his first 2 weeks when he broke the team under Tito's tutelage in 2022, he started in right field.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then moved to
He
left.
was batting right behind Straw at the time. They were batting him second.
Yeah. And so I think it's fine. The pessimists are probably going to say, yeah, they're boosting the trade value, which I'm sure there's an element of that to it, because let's face it, the extension is seeming less and less likely. But I also, who knows, because there's been times where with this organization in the past, to give them their due, where we thought extension for certain guys never had a snowball's chance of hell of getting one done, and they did. So maybe they get a Quan one done. This is also, if you want to do a Quan one, this is probably the best time, because he's coming off not a fantastic season by his own standards.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, I mean, you would get him cheaper this offseason than if you would have last offseason.
Of course.
Without a doubt, yeah. So I'm sure those conversations are happening. And like you said, Jerome, I mean, if they're this distant on talks, I mean, I could see the element of potentially getting him some reps at center field to try to boost the trade value, just because center field is a lot more important defensively than
Premium
left field.
position,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. It's right up there with shortstop and catcher even.
Right.
So I could see like potentially an element of that. I do think it's way more coincidental that they're having contract discussions and they're making this move. I think it has more so to do with the actual talent on the baseball field.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Guardians, we know, are in the middle of Cactus League games now. They'll lose not that many guys compared to some other teams, obviously. And I know it's spring training and we take it with a grain of salt, but obviously Travis Bazzana yesterday hits a 3-run bomb off Gavin Stone of the Dodgers. I get it, it's spring training, but it was nice to see before he leaves and goes to do his thing with Team Australia for the WBC. And then, Jose Ramirez is not going to play for the Dominican Republic, which I know people were very disappointed about. But I guess for the Guardians, that's probably a good thing, because you want your franchise pillar to be in camp the whole time to lead the way for these young guys. And, oh, by the way, if anybody's worried about Jose Ramirez falling off after his contract extension, he's hitting .469 this spring and hit his second Cactus League home run today. He will be just fine, as we all, I think, expect.
Yeah, Jose will be fine, just as we all expect. It's the more so, as exciting as that 3-run bomb is by Bazzana, I want to see a couple more of those before we start talking ourselves into it.
Right, absolutely. And same thing with, like, I know Nolan Jones was off to a hot start in the Cactus League.
To no one, I'm not shocked in the slightest.
To everyone's surprise and
to everyone's chagrin.
And no, not chagrin. Like I want Nolan to be good, and then
No,
obviously, it's just last year his defenders will say, well, he hit the ball hard. Well, at the end of the day, he hit .210. All right, well,
hey, that's what we want Rhys Hoskins to hit this year.
Yeah, but Rhys Hoskins will also
20 to 25 bombs.
Yeah, the ideal Rhys Hoskins is that the folks in the bleachers are catching a lot of baseballs from number 8 he's going to wear, because 17, his usual number, is already occupied. So,
yeah.
Overall, I guess the vibes out of Goodyear seem good right now.
They seem better than last week.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you like I said, you sign Rhys Hoskins, and for those of you who are concerned yourself with the "he gets us" meter, Rhys Hoskins was at Game 7 of the World Series and at a Browns game for the 1-15 team.
I didn't know that. I saw that post earlier this week.
Those posts were going viral. So Rhys Hoskins has spent some time here, is familiar with Cleveland a little bit, and he was talking about that was at a time when that was 2016. He was in Double-A for the Phillies, and he said his girlfriend at the time was an intern for the Browns. So the Double-A season had ended, so he came and he lived here that whole winter over the course of Cleveland.
Wow.
Over the course of that winter,
that
lived
season.
in Cleveland with his girlfriend and I believe now wife. So
interesting. I did see that he was at a Browns game and was at Game 7. I did not see why he was at that Browns game, though. That's interesting that his girlfriend was interning for them.
So, yeah, she was interning for the Browns at the time. So I did a little digging myself, and he had basically, somebody else had asked him this, what were you doing in Cleveland? Like, why?
Why?
Yeah, and during his first media availability with the press yesterday, he had expanded and, elaborated on that a little bit. And then just from one more quick note, Stephen Vogt said, obviously, he just got here on Sunday. The deal had come to fruition on Friday. He said he was so excited he drove straight from Sacramento to Goodyear, Arizona, because that's where he lived.
Okay.
He was living at the time, during the off season. And he said, so Vogt said, obviously they're going to get him some live BPs, and Vogt said, hopefully by this weekend they get him some Cactus League games. But again, I think everybody would be flabbergasted if Rhys didn't make this roster.
Yeah, I would be. Like we were talking about earlier, I don't think the penny pinching Dolans are going to hold this one up. I think it's almost a lock that he's going to be batting somewhere between 4 through 6.
And I know we say this all the time and make jokes, but if you literally can't afford the $1.5 million, then you really shouldn't be the CEO and owner of any company or organization.
No, absolutely not. Specifically an MLB team.
Absolutely. All right, let's flip, and we're going to go to, you want to go Cavs or Browns here?
I say we roll right into the Brownies.
All right, let's go Browns. A little bit of brief Browns news, and Combine. This is your big deal. This is your time to shine.
Yeah. So I have the Combine schedule, believe it or not, right in front of me. So like Jerome said at the beginning of the episode, quick housekeeping, like we are recording Wednesday evening. So this past Sunday, February 22nd, the kickers, defensive linemen, and linebackers reported. As of Monday, those same positions had their registration, pre-exam, orientation, team interviews. As that was happening on Monday, the defensive backs and tight ends arrived in Indianapolis. Following day on Tuesday, they went through the same registration pre-exams as the running backs and quarterbacks and wide receivers were introduced, or I should say arrived on Tuesday. And that's when the kickers, defensive linemen, linebackers had their exams, studies, interviews. There's a whole thing. I can post it, honestly, either on our Twitter, or I can also put it on our Instagram post once we release the episode, the exact scheduling. So if you're listening right now and you're having trouble following along with the schedule, it's going to be on our Instagram post in the morning when this releases.
Yeah, at CLE Sports Realm.
Correct.
And that's our handle for all of our social media.
Yep.
Quick thing, I'm not going to profess to say I watched the whole thing, but I know Andrew Berry spoke yesterday. Again, we are recording this Wednesday. Munkett met with the media today. Quick takeaways, Andrew Berry saying that they don't expect to spend that much money in free agency. People were really pissed off about this on social media. We're in a hard
What
cap,
are you expecting?
In a hard cap league like the NFL. It's not like, baseball where you have the fake cap, or basketball where you have a fake cap. NFL is a hard cap, and you have to be under it. Where did you expect the Browns to just get a different cap number than the rest of the league? Like, would you expect them to be in on every big free agent?
What I think is so funny is that the same fans that are complaining about the Browns not being able to spend a ton of money this offseason are the same ones that for the last 3 to 4 seasons said we are going to be in cap hell for the next 10 years. And now halfway into that 10-year period, we're going, wait a minute, we can't spend any money?
Yeah.
Like, what did you think was going to happen? We've been talking about this since March of 2022, ever since the Albatross was acquired.
Yeah,
we are going to be in cap hell for 10 years. We're not even 5 years into it, by the way. This is 2026 now. We're not even 4 years into it. Next month is March. Like,
yeah,
we're screwed.
Yeah, so all of you people, and look, we're not defend Andrew Barry type of people here. Like we've certainly criticized him plenty of times on this show.
Yeah.
So we're not defend Andrew Barry kind of people here. And for you guys to attack Andrew Barry for saying, well, we're not going to spend that much money. What did you expect him to do? I mean,
no, this is his doing.
Right.
He handed out the contract. He handed out the picks. Like, no, we are not defending Andrew Barry at all, but we are just giving reasoning as to the position that they are in and why they cannot do what the fan base would like them to do.
So when Andrew Barry shows up at the Combine and says, yeah, we're probably not going to lead the league in free agency spending, we'll do what we can, yeah, that's not coming as a shock to anybody in this room.
Yeah. No, nobody at all. Maybe producer Eric, but he's also not like 100% familiar with how the team operates and the cap space and things like that.
And to be quite frank, he doesn't give a shit enough anyway about the Browns cap situation to care. So why, again,
yeah,
okay, anybody in front of the camera, I should say, we're not shocked. And then, I saw people, so the Browns are basically admitting that this is going to be another crap year. Well, again, when and Kevin just laid it out perfectly for you folks, when they did what they did, you suffer and live with the consequences. They gave out the worst contract in NFL history. They made the worst trade in pro sports history. It's not, when you do something that egregious, that much of a disaster, and that much of a total failure and disgrace, it doesn't wipe away quickly. You live with the ramifications for that, as we've said many times on this podcast, and Kevin just eloquently put again tonight. It's a decade long of hell you're going to have to go through. That's the choice they made. And now us as Browns fans have to sit here and suffer, and it's going to suck. And if they somehow figure out how to win games without it, that's just a cherry on top. This is a hindering action they did, and we're paying the price. And I think, oh boy,
I think we might honestly be seeing why Andrew Barry kept his job, actually. And it's funny that I say that, because we're talking so down about the move that was made almost 4 years ago now, and rightfully so. But do you think there's a shot that Jimmy Haslam was like, you know what, Kevin, talking about Kevin Stefanski, you've endured enough here. We'll let you go. You can go somewhere else. Barry, you made your bed. You got to sleep in it. You got to deal with these repercussions. And maybe he was just like, you know what? I don't want a first-time general manager to inherit this hell of a cap situation. I'm going to say, you know what, Andrew Barry, we'll give you a couple more years. You better dig your way out of it. If not, then you're gone. But I'm not giving you an easy pass to just go to a different organization.
Well, I think Andrew Barry, has to be given credit for the last couple trades he's made, and free agent moves have worked out. So I think I pointed. Jimmy said this himself, so I'm not.
Yeah, no, he mentioned the Malik Collins signing.
Right, I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but I think that probably helped him keep his job too. Like, yeah, I mean, it is an absolute disaster, but it still is one of 32. And like anybody who was a GM, who if the Browns' job was open, I mean, somebody would have wanted it.
Well, no, 100%. But I'm just saying, if somebody would have definitely wanted it, somebody would have definitely taken it, and somebody would have definitely been fired within 2 years.
Absolutely. So
that's how it would have happened.
So that's the Andrew Barry presser takeaway. Like, again, I'm not sitting here shocked when he says, well, it might be a long year again. Well, yeah, it might be a long year again. But I think, really thinking at this logically, like, yeah, you took a huge swing and a miss. I think the reason that people are so upset is it was 25 years worth of failure before that.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at almost 30 years of failure by the time 2029 rolls around, and that's when I think the Browns will be able to maybe spend a little bit of money. A little
bit of breathing room, right?
Right.
Speaking of spending money, so you know how we had talked about, this is probably only 2 or 3 episodes ago, about Tyler Linderbaum and that being a huge player that we wanted the Browns to be targeting in free agency.
Yeah.
Did you see there was another center around the same age that was just released after signing a huge deal 2 years ago?
I don't know who that is.
Lloyd Cushenberry.
Oh, wow.
The Titans released him. They signed him to a 4-year, $50 million contract 2 years ago, and they just released him to clear up $8 million of cap room. That's a player that I think definitely would not cost what a Tyler Linderbaum would cost,
No.
but it's definitely somebody who would stabilize the interior of that offensive line.
Sure,
That's somebody I would absolutely be targeting if I were the Browns.
And I think, the Browns right now, it's without knowing that, Joel still hasn't made his decision. They said they expected the next 2 weeks. Barry said that yesterday. Until Joel makes his decision, then you have one. They're 0 for 5 on guys you can pencil in on the two. Like right now, we have zero clue in September who's going to be lining up in front of whoever.
Right.
The non-quarterback that we don't know, because that leads me to today. Todd Monken talked to the media, and he said it's going to be an open competition between, he didn't really use names, but my understanding, kind of what I took away, pulling apart the pieces, I believe it's going to be between Shedeur and Deshaun.
That's what I believe too. Can I ask you a quick Joel Bitonio question before we get to the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
So, not what you think Bitonio is going to do. If you were Joel Bitonio, what would your decision be?
Oh, I think I'd retire.
I would too, without hesitation. Like, going into next year, you're not really fighting for anything. Like, even if you get to the playoffs, you're going to probably be a first-round exit.
No, what I will say is, and maybe I just have Todd Monken fever, but God, when that guy talks, I do like listening. Like and maybe that's just because we just came off of 4 years of listening, or 6 years rather, of listening to
nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Well, listening and watching the paint dry, because I was coming home from work today and I caught a couple at the end of Monken's press conference, and Jeff Phelps goes, and I'm not a huge Jeff Phelps fan, to be perfectly honest, but Jeff Phelps did.
Neither am I.
He did make a very valid point that made me laugh. He goes, he says, I don't know if this guy's going to be a good coach or not. He goes, but at least, he goes, when we have to listen to these things, he goes, at least there's something to listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
no, and I agree with him there for sure. Like, at least there's some substance to take away from it.
Right. Like, Andrew Berry was Andrew Berry yesterday. He's very much the general manager version of Kevin. He doesn't really give you anything.
And that's what they said, dude, about them being hired at the same time. They walk lockstep.
Right. Now, Todd Monken today, he kind of, the biggest takeaway I took from his press conference is he said that it's going to be a competition, but he wants to know who his quarterback is by training camp. Now, that's interesting to me, because wouldn't you think that training camp is going to be when the competition would take place? But
he probably doesn't want the drama of a quarterback battle.
Right. And also, look at the Browns last year.
And for the locker room to be separated on, no, we think it should be this guy. No,
the Browns claim they had a 4-quarterback competition last year. Flacco sucked up all the first-team reps. Kenny Pickett stood around and did nothing until he tore his hamstring. Dylan Gabriel took the other first-team reps that Flacco didn't take, and Shedeur was thrown to water boys. So maybe Todd Monken looked at what happened here last year and thought, F that ain't going to happen under me. We're going to know who the damn quarterback is, and they're going to take the reps. And I kind of like that. But
so if Deshaun Watson gets all of the first team quarterback reps, are you going to think that Todd Monken's out for Shedeur Sanders?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
So yes, you would.
No, I don't know that yet. I just think, I get where Monken's going, right? Like you just pointed out where he wants to have the quarterback by training camp. But I also think you're going to have your competition during OTAs and mini camps. So what, these guys prancing around in shorts and no pads and shorts and T-shirts.
By the way, I think when he says he wants his starter solidified by training camp, I know that's not what solidified means, but I do think he means it like he would have it written in pencil, basically, and not in pen.
Okay.
We're going into training camp. Shedeur Sanders is our starting quarterback. If his play is not that great and Deshaun's playing well with the backups, I think we would see that switch. But I think he's just basically saying, when we go into training camp, I want the depth chart to say, this is QB1, this is QB2. And then if you need to swap those by the end of training camp and by week 1, you can do so. But I think he just wants to know, who am I going into training camp with as my starting quarterback?
And it will be interesting to see how Todd Monken handles this. I will say this, though, with Kevin, we knew nothing. We didn't know. He didn't let us in. Monken, I think much to Barry's chagrin, because Barry likes to operate the same way. Let's tell them nothing and make them guess everything. Monken's going to tell us some shit, which I think is going to be nice for the fans, but I don't think that the front office is going to be too fond of that by the time the season rolls around. Unless this is just the off season and we've only literally heard from him publicly twice. Maybe Monken tones it down a little bit as much as like his emotion, but I don't think that's going to happen either necessarily because Todd Monken's 60 years old. He's going to do what he always did to get him here to this spot, to be a head coach. Yeah. And he's a guy with some personality. And you know what? Like Jeff Phelps said and like you and I said, it's a hell of a lot nicer listening to somebody up their emotion than literally what felt like listening to an AI robo phone call from Kevin.
Yeah,
I mean,
legitimately,
I don't know how else to put it. So, I mean, Atlanta fans, if you think that you're going to get, fist pounding on the podium and anger when you lose games, no.
Now, I will tell Atlanta fans what is exciting is when he does randomly show that emotion. Like I'll never forget.
Sideline,
I'll never forget in 2021.
It's like 3 times a season, but when it comes, it's unexpected and exciting.
One of my favorite Stefanski moments ever, genuinely, was 2021, and the Browns were in Los Angeles facing the Chargers, and the Browns were 3-1 at the time. It was a huge game. They were 3-1, and if you remember, they came out of halftime, and Nick Chubb immediately put us up 2 touchdowns with a pretty long run. Later in that game, the Chargers had come back. There was a ridiculous pass interference call that should have never been PI. It ended up really costing the Browns the game. But Baker had thrown either a deep dig or a post pattern to Njoku,
who took it all the way.
Who had caught it, and as soon as he caught it, broke off a couple tackles at once and broke it for 6. It was the slowest, 60 to 70-yard touchdown I'd ever seen, but it worked. Dude, Baker, and then they went for 2 afterwards, got it, and when they ran off the field, Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield damn near chest bumped, and they're both screaming. Stefanski's got the headset off. I was like, holy is that my head coach?
Yeah.
I can get, when that happens, it is exciting as hell, especially when it's a game that's big. It was in conference. The stakes were bigger, At that point, you're 3-1. You're thinking anything's on the table when it comes to the playoffs. So you're hoping for any advantage when it comes to seeding. That was a huge game, and that was one of my favorite Kevin Stefanski moments ever.
Yeah, I mean it is rare. Now I think Todd Monken, for quote unquote an older guy. I mean he's he just turned 60 a couple weeks ago. I think he does still have a ton of energy though. It looks like it. Which is going to be a good thing, I think, for a young team like this. All right, I don't really have anything else Browns to say. I think we can move on.
Yeah, I think I'm good on the Browns as well. Who we taking at 6?
Yeah, I still kind of think a receiver.
Gun to my head, we're taking Carnell Tate.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Obviously, how much time till the draft there, Draft Master?
We got 2 days, or we got 2 months. Excuse me. I wish it was 2 days.
Yeah.
No, we got 2 months. So it's February. I want to say the draft is April 23rd. So a little bit less than 2 months.
All right. So we'll see what they end up doing, and obviously we'll cover their whole free agency.
I plan on going to. Are you planning on going to the draft?
I'm going to try to.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning.
Well, and I think this
with friend of the show Robbie Becker, and I believe friend of the show Kyle Ernie.
I think friend of the show Nate is going to go too because
it's his home city.
Yeah, he wants to be there for. I also I think that they are still going to do a couple things in free agency.
Of course they are. Yeah, they'll probably restructure Denzel Ward, which will free up probably $7 or $8 million. They'll probably restructure Deshaun again.
Do you think they're going to re-sign Devin Bush? I'm thinking he priced himself out of the Browns market.
I think he probably priced himself out of the Browns market too, which does stink because, especially with Barry saying this past week that he's not overly optimistic about JOK ever playing football again,
which is very, very heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking. Yeah.
All right, quick to another injury, not nearly as serious. James Harden, Shams tweeted it today, and then it sounds like it's really not all that serious.
He's gonna play through it.
Yeah, and
fractured his thumb.
Yeah, but it's a non-displaced, so basically,
and it's on his non-shooting hand.
So my understanding, it's a very deep thumb bruise is what it is, from what I was reading and looking up. Cavs beat the crap out of the Knicks last night. Good for them.
Yeah, it was nice.
That was very good.
They obviously lost against the Thunder.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to hold that game in too much high stakes anyway, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I know the Thunder were down Jalen Williams and SGA, which the Cavs going in there and still losing, and quite frankly, they were getting demolished in the first half of the first quarter.
They made it a game, though.
They did. They made it a game, but it was It was underwhelming watching them, but also it's not something, I watched the Cavs get absolutely smoked by the Warriors in 2016 and then go on to win the championship.
Right.
So,
and I also think, like, overall, they're just playing so well right now. You can't win them all.
Yeah.
And obviously beating the Knicks last night, that's your biggest competition, in my opinion, in the East.
Unless Tatum gets healthy.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I think that's...
I think it's a pipe dream too, but
Yeah.
there's an outside shot of it happening.
Right. So I think that's your biggest competition. So to beat them at home is obviously a big deal. And then they took care of business on Friday as well. We watched that game. And I can't remember who they beat. Oh, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah, because can I go on a high horse?
Can you please?
God, those Charlotte City Connects
Oh,
or whatever
disgusting.
they called. Oh my gosh, were they horrid?
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot because we watched that game immediately after we were at a fish fry.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay, Cavs tonight against the Bucks. I expect them to win.
I expect them to win too. Do we know what time that tips off?
8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock. So right now it's just before 7:30. So
and I'll be
we'll probably have
honest,
to watch that tomorrow.
Yeah,
because Survivor 50's on tonight.
Yeah, can't be. I'm sorry, can't be watching the Cavs tonight. We'll catch them tomorrow, and we'll know exactly what happened. We're good podcast hosts.
Of course.
We'll keep up with things.
Yeah, we will.
And then finally, we're gonna end tonight's show, and we haven't talked much college hoops on here lately.
But you have to at this point.
We talked a little bit at the beginning of this season. Producer Derek hails from down in southern Ohio. What's the nearest university to you, Producer Derek? It's not UC, is it? It's Miami, right? Yeah.
It's Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio is 28-0 in college basketball. I understand their non-conference is not that good. I understand the MAC's typically a one bid league. God, I can't talk. However, I think they've solidified enough that the committee, no matter what, can't leave them out at this point.
No, they have to. They have to be in.
I mean, they're 28-0, and if they're left out, I'm going to be pissed. The Red Hawks deserve all the credit, all the flowers. They play Western Michigan on Friday night, who's 11-18. So I don't see they should go 29-0, but anything could happen. But shout out to, I understand they're from down south. They're not from our part of the state, Northeast Ohio. That's Southwest. But you got to give the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks some love. 28-0, only undefeated team left in college basketball. So good for you, Red Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for the Red Hawks, man. I can't really remember a time genuinely ever really where the Miami Red Hawks have ever really been relevant, across any sport. So the fact that they're getting nationally recognized, you basically see them once or twice a week on ESPN, them letting they've won once again.
Yeah.
Like it's a national thing that people are following, and it's very, very cool.
It's a huge story. So, and we're getting geared up because conference tournament time's right around the corner. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And then the big dance. All right, that'll do it for tonight's show. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
And I think
I love the Scott Paxson reference at the beginning of the show,
Oh,
too. That one
sure.
took me off guard.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah, I couldn't think of too many players who've worn 69.
Across all of Cleveland sports, I can't think of too many either.
So, all right, Derek, congratulations to your Red Hawks, buddy. And we'll keep this. That'll do it for this week's show. We'll end it right here. You can follow us on CLE Sports Realm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then obviously this podcast is available to watch on YouTube, listen or watch on Spotify, and listen on Apple Podcasts. We hope that you do so. And while you do, make sure to like and review this podcast. That helps us get out there to more people. And if you like what you're seeing, why not share it with a friend?
Yeah.
We always appreciate that. And then if you really like it, leave us a review. What the hell? Give us some stars.
Leave us a review and please comment. Please.
Yeah.
We want to hear your takes.
Absolutely. So thank you to all of our loyal listeners. We'll talk to you guys next week here on the Cleveland Sports Realm for the 70th episode next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Go Red Hawks.